begins. Are you ready?
The system has already reversed it because every person's tokenization, the central bank, commercial banks are the ones to hold your tokenization. I remember one of the secretary of of currency or so in the US, if I'm not mistaken, said something like what I'm saying now, that central banks might have to run nodes in the future. So instead of them getting annihilated, they just need to run nodes. They just need to upgrade to blockchain. And when you run nodes, you'll be holding reserves for the masses. Instead of creating money out of thin air, money will come from a reserve. Total number of people there at the top.
626, 636, 33,
600.
and 33.
Oh, that's nice.
There are some that wants to enter, they cannot.
How?
I don't know. Something is scrolling, say 57 people want to give.
Number 9. The first 13 central banks will upgrade to Universal Reserve Inc. node. The first 13 central banks will upgrade to Universal Reserve Inc. node, and they will join the HOOS, the House of Monetary Sparks, as the U14 nations. These are the key frontliners that will make decisions for the nearest future. Now, if central banks are not ready for this, because we've heard some people look at us and say, oh, this small boy, not because of the technology is not unique, but because it is a small boy that invented it. But that doesn't concern us. What concerns us is we are out to change the world for good. And the U14 will be those nations that embrace us, either through the government, through the central bank, or even through the people themselves. So if we cannot wait for the central we go through the people, because our world needs to be changed. Number 10, other central banks will upgrade to Federated Reserve Inc. node. 11, commercial banks upgrade to Private Reserve Inc. node. Number 12, minimum of 700 billion in digital reserve for every country. Now, when you combine, for example, each person in Nigeria is tokenized at $800,000. When you combine that with the total population of Nigeria, we are going to more than 1.6 trillion, $160 trillion. Now, if with every single, the U14 themselves, we have 1.8% of the total reserve. Currently, we have a reserve of close to $6 trillion. When the U14 comes in, they will be able to hold or have access, maybe for their budgets and everything. Instead of borrowing money from other nations or here and there, they will have access to this reserve in order to use it for whatever allocations. 1.8% of the reserve. The first 14, the House of Monetary Sparks has her own 1.8%. Other Universal Reserve Inc. node, which in total will be 14, will have their own 1.8. The remaining countries or nations by currency will hold 0.5% of the INKS reserve. Number 13, it upgrades the debt slavery system into a strategic global abundance monetary system. Number 14, instantaneous cross-border global remittance. Cross-border transactions are done instantly. Number 15, the crime rate will reduce drastically on a global scale, because when poverty is reduced, we surely know that crime will reduce. And in a system like this, where you know you are tokenized, you can be punished. Your universal basic income might not come for you if you go against certain rules that are against humanity. So, number 16, one united global family mindset. No discrimination, no segregation. We see ourselves as human beings, as inks, all colors in one. Next, milestone. Currently, we have over 6.5 million human beings who have been tokenized, who have been converted from human assets to living nodes on the INKSLEDGER blockchain. And it started since 2019. And to date, we have close to $6 trillion in the reserve. And we have certain milestones from 180, which is our special number. 180 represents the 180 currencies of the world. And it means that every currency of the world is represented in the INKSLEDGER blockchain in order to bail them out of their distress and even their weakness. Therefore, for every 180 living nodes that joins the INKSLEDGER blockchain, price increases by $1. So, in general, this is how we came across birth rates and death rates, and also the tokenization value of every single soul that joins the blockchain. There are two major things that applies here. Number one is money itself is the result of belief and acceptance. Many of us do not understand our financial human rights or our financial rights. There is nothing wrong, especially in the world today with blockchain, for a group of people to decide that we want to create our own kind of money. We want it to be accepted within us. Remember how money moved from barter to so many different types of exchange. So it's with that ideology of money being acceptance based on belief and acceptance. Do you believe that you are worth $800,000? Even if you might be worth more, or we believe that on our own blockchain you are worth $800,000. Let us tokenize you and give you 0.04% every month of your tokenization. Your own duty is to accept it and believe that, yes, this is worth it. Then also go the extra mile to make sure that every other single person joins in, so that by the time you start receiving your UCBI, you won't need to be saying you want to exchange to Naira or dollar or pounds. You would exchange for goods and services. You trade it with others. I want to buy something worth of $100. I send out of the 320 I received, I can send to you with team, user to user, peer to peer, without thinking of exchange. It is the exchange part that most of us get this project wrongly. When we say 120,000 naira worth of pin coin, when we say $320 worth of pin coin, remember, if you can survive a country like Nigeria since you have been born, I don't think I've seen anything good from this country. But we are out to make sure that the story is changed. And within a year, we've been able to achieve a lot, no matter the challenges. Without freedom, with headaches, with challenges, with enemies, with people even rising against us, both in government and outside the government. But we still have been able to achieve this far. So let us understand this project properly. The project is meant to be a project that should span through 2025. Or in just 1 year, we've come this far. It is huge success for us. But we need to be patient in order to balance everything up. Now, our target is to tokenize every single human being on earth. It might be hard, it might be simple, it might be easy, but what we know is there is no going back. We have to do it because unless you have another option, this is the only option I can see. Every other system is centered around trading, exchanging. None is centered around giving value to human life. It might be slow, it might be fast. It might take time, it might take your sweat. But the fact is this, the only thing that can make this project fail is if the human race is wiped off. That is to tell you that that's the best way to build a system that is tied to the existence of human beings, that can only fail if only the human race is wiped off. So, you can view our Explorer at inksnation.io/explorer. Our target is 7.8 billion living nodes. Now, INKSLEDGER financial system stands on its own. INKSNation DAO stands on our own. INKSNation is more like a test run of how human asset tokenization runs, and to be able to see how we can achieve it. And like I said, we've been able to achieve a lot. With what we've achieved, we've seen that it is 1,000,000% possible. And right now, we are given the chance and the opportunity to function as blockchain as a service to help countries build their central bank digital currencies if they desire to do it. Now, we have so many options. Firstly, before I go into that, our projection is to get to 7.